Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. Time for another story from Stories Narrated. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up to support the channel. My girlfriend tried manipulating me and forcing me to have a threesome with her friend. My girlfriend, 19, and I, 20M, have been dating for almost 2 years. For anonymity, we'll call her Mary. Mary and I started dating in late 2022. Before her, I had dated a girl who, for anonymity, we'll call Liz. I broke up with Liz to date Mary because I felt I couldn't trust Liz to be loyal. Mary is bisexual, which I thought was really cool when we started dating because even the small possibility of a threesome sounded amazing. When we started dating, I had 2 other bodies, and Mary had 0. It took a very long time for us to be able to be intimate with each other due to her being a virgin. Even after I took her V card, the sex wasn't good and hasn't ever been very good. I know this might sound douchey, but I've only ever heard compliments from previous partners. I was always able to make them finish and last for 20+ minutes. But ever since Mary and I started being intimate, I've never been able to make her finish. The douchey part about it is I refuse to believe I'm at fault. She takes a lot of mood stabilizers and antidepressants, so that's what I blame it on. For example, she takes Lexapro, and I've heard it's virtually impossible to finish while on Lexapro. After months of having terrible, unsuccessful sex, Mary decided she wanted to have a threesome, and I was thrilled with the idea, as most 18-year-old teenage boys are. It was around this time that Mary and Liz had become close friends. Yes, they became friends after we started dating. Eventually, Liz brought the idea up to Mary about having a threesome, and I said yes, we should do it. However, shortly after, I rediscovered my relationship with God and became more spiritual, which led to me wanting to be strictly monogamous. When I told Mary, she said she didn't want to force me to do anything and said nothing would happen, but they remained friends. Fast forward a couple of weeks, I looked through my girlfriend's phone. Yes, I looked through her phone. IDC, I have valid reasons. And I discovered that they had begun a full-fledged emotional affair behind my back. When I confronted Mary and told her she had to cut off Liz, she actually agreed. But when she no longer had her best friend in her life, she became more depressed and moped around every day. So trying to be the bigger man and look out for my girlfriend's feelings, I had a talk with Liz and tried to set boundaries. Whenever I talked to her, though, she seemed to only want to talk about our relationship, which I thought was weird and still do to this day. Let me state this. I have 0 feelings towards her anymore. Yes, she's still attractive, but I no longer have any feelings beyond that. After that talk, Liz and Mary were friends again. I guess they had talked about wanting to have a threesome because Mary repeatedly brought it up. Even after I said I didn't want to, she tried saying she was unhappy with our bedroom life and wanted more. I told her I'm not comfortable with it, and if she wants more, she can leave and do it. She chose to drop it and stay. Until August 23, 2022, when I looked through Mary's phone and discovered again that they had formed a full emotional affair. On top of that, Mary said how in love she was with Liz and said, "That one time you put your hand on my thigh made me so wet, and I still masturbate thinking about it." She proceeded to say that she hates being intimate with me and wishes it was her instead. She said she feels she has to force herself to be with me. When reading these texts on her phone, I immediately broke down. Yes, being lied to and cheated on hurt a lot. But to this day, the worst part was her saying she felt she had to force herself to be intimate with me. It felt like I had been raping her for our entire relationship, and that in and of itself made me suicidal. Even now, almost a whole year later, it still hurts me to think about. When I read those messages, I immediately left Mary's house without waking her up or saying goodbye. I went home and played video games with my cousin and best friend and told them what had happened. They were just as shocked and told me I needed to confront her and discuss it with her. When she woke up, I texted her saying how I found the messages and wanted to break up. She apologized profusely, said it meant nothing, and said what she said about us wasn't true, and she wishes she could take it back. I told her I couldn't see her for a while and didn't even know if I still loved her. I took a week or 2 away to see how I felt. I decided to take her back and forgive her. Why, you may ask? Because I love her and I want to have kids and a future with her. This is probably my biggest regret. That night I saw her, we were intimate, a lot, and she was more enthusiastic about it than she ever had been. I knew it was out of pity. I knew I shouldn't. I still did because I'm weak. I wish I could tell you it only happened once, but it didn't. It continued like that for a while, and I never turned it down. The post-nut clarity after each time was terrible. She had cut off Liz, and we were trying to get back to normal. I don't remember how, because that whole time was such a blur, but Liz and Mary became friends again. I know I said it was okay. I just don't remember the context behind it at all, unfortunately. The problem is I'm very nonchalant, and it's hard for me to stay mad at things because everything feels so small to me. The reason I'm making this post is because I need to know if I'm crazy. Anyways, fast forward to December of 2023. Mary and I were going through a rough patch. A 4-month-long rough patch. I just didn't see her the same and still held resentment. We agreed to take a break from each other. The night before we broke up, I went through her phone, and you'll never guess what I found. Yep, the same exact thing. Them having an emotional affair. But this time, on top of that, Mary stated that she was going to break up with me so she could be with Liz. That's not what she told me. Obviously, she said she wanted to take time away from each other and then get back together. When I saw this, I was livid that this could happen 3 times. This one didn't hurt me as much because we were breaking up anyways. So when we broke up, I had no intention of getting back together with her. She still kept in contact with me, reminding me she loved me and that she wanted to get back together. Funny part is, we were intimate more often during that time than we were when we were in a relationship. I'm sure there's a reason why, but I couldn't tell you. I'm sure someone else knows why. One of the last times we hooked up, I looked through her phone, but this time, I actually got a pleasant surprise. Mary said she didn't want to date Liz and wanted to be with me. Liz, obviously furious, blocked her. But don't worry, not for very long. We ended up getting back together, and she still, to this day, doesn't know what I found the night before we broke up. We got back together in January. In February, Mary and Liz became friends again. Mary continued to ask for a threesome even after I said no. She said it would make our sex life so much better and more fun. She wouldn't talk to me and would belittle me whenever I would say no. She would withhold being intimate because I said no. If you're still reading this, BTW, I'm so appreciative and would love some advice on how to fix this and what I should do. Why am I still with her? Because I love her more than I've ever loved anybody. She's the reason I do anything other than lay in bed. What do I do now, Reddit? Update. Wow, just wow. I honestly didn't think anyone would read this. I was hoping for 2-3 people to give advice, a lot more than I had expected Reddit and commented with advice. Some of it was a little rude, which is fine because I think I needed to hear people say I'm dumb or an idiot. Despite what you think, I'm not delusional. I'm aware that it's ridiculous. I just haven't been able to bring myself to leave. That might be delusional, but I don't know. I'm going to respond to comments and then say what my plan is. A couple of comments stood out to me. The first one I read when I woke up this morning was, when did God say it wasn't okay for threesomes, but okay for premarital sex? Good question. And honestly, my plan when I became a Christian again was to stop premarital sex altogether. Obviously, I've kind of failed at that because it is hard. However, I've made some great progress in that battle recently. Another comment said that they've been hooking up behind my back. Though it seems like they haven't. I've been to Liz's house many times, and her parents never even let me go to her room. We had to stay in the living room every time. On top of that, I have always had Mary's location, even when we broke up. I even have access to her Ring camera, so I know who came and when. That was a stipulation when I found out she was cheating the first time. The last comment I want to respond to is one that said, she's probably the prettiest girl you've ever been with in first love stuff. Yeah, she's the prettiest girl I've ever seen in real life, and to this day. She's drop-dead gorgeous, and I know for a fact I couldn't do better. Koreans, man, gotta go with them. She's also not my first love. I had a girlfriend back in sophomore year and half of junior year that I dated and was in love with. Looking back, I'm not sure why, because she's not very attractive. We broke up because of long distance after she moved away. Side note, she just got married, so good for her. My plan going forward is to have a talk with Mary about her relationship with Liz. I'm going to give her the chance to completely cut it off and move on. I know she went behind my back 3 times, but it seems that Liz is just her kryptonite, and I get why, because she's really hot and amazing in bed, but not really girlfriend-wifey material. I guess I don't really know because I thought Mary was girlfriend-wifey material. I'm going to add some extra stipulations into the mix. I have some in mind, like asking for logins and passwords for everything. I know you may think I need to move on, but this girl is like someone you've never met. Whenever it's good, it's great. I can still remember a time when she was amazing and my best friend, and I'm just trying to get back to that. I'll have an update either tomorrow or a couple of days later. Also, a side note, I'm moving to Riverside, California in the summer. So if all goes wrong, that could be my out because, quite frankly, I don't know if I have the balls to end it. Some might not respect me, and that's fine, but I went through my hoe phase and treated women like shit. When I found Mary, I knew I only ever wanted to be with her. Thank you for the comments, even the rude ones. I hope you get to read all of this and wait for me to update. So it's been a little bit since my last update, and you'll be happy to know that Mary and I have since broken up. I broke up with her last night. A couple of weeks ago, we had a talk where I mentioned how I was unhappy and wanted her to be more appreciative and respectful of me. She said she would, but obviously that didn't pan out. We were having an argument about something, and she was yelling at me and calling me stupid. She got so angry that she slapped me, and she slapped me so hard that my glasses flew off my face. It was in that moment that a switch flipped, and she just wasn't the person I knew anymore. She became something completely different, an abusive, manipulating liar. I do still miss her for some reason, but I had to cut her out so I can grow and succeed as a person. I don't know much else to say beyond that. Hopefully, I don't fall into the trap of texting her. I'm really going to try not to. Thank you for trying to warn me before it was too late. And comment below with your thoughts on what happened in this story, and thanks for watching.